Now let me quickly deal with the media issues. And Doc, I'll be remiss if I do not express sincerest commiserations and solidarity with you. I was in the Bono East, and let me use this opportunity to thank. I've done a 6-region tour this week, and it's been really amazing. From Ashanti region, Northern region, Savannah region, Bono East, Central region. It's been absolutely incredible. There is no doubt that His Excellency John Dramani Mahama is winning with a landslide, landslide everywhere. Look, even the Ashanti region.
Interesting.
The reception, how people are clamoring for a message, our T-shirts, wow. You know, how it's just, I mean, we didn't want to leave. I arrived at 3 a.m. today, you know. So, what is happening in this country with the abuse of security services, police, you know, and then they are leading so-called judgment debt enforcers and live television program they want to invade. I mean, why? To achieve what? And one will ask the question, if this continues and we allow it during elections, if results are being announced and some people don't like how it is going, you know, these are some of the consequences. You know, so there are matters that we all must condemn and we should not accept at all. Media freedom is guaranteed under the 1992 Constitution. And media houses cannot be invaded in the manner in which...
I mean, last year they did the same thing.
I mean, it's totally wrong.
A guy called Georgiado.
Totally wrong.
Geld G-E-L-D or so.
Totally wrong.
He's the one who's been leading this police.
You don't do that.
The last year one, they are covered their faces.
I mean, look at that.
Cross my vehicle.
I mean, look at that.
I mean, right here in this compound.
It's totally wrong. You don't do that. And look, the IGP.
Now his wife is a high court judge and he's politically connected.
No, but it doesn't give him the right to do that. And the IGP must be questioning that police officer who led them, because he ought to have known better.
Two
of them.
The one that happened 2 days ago, there were 2 armed policemen. The one that happened last year, it was a pickup full of policemen armed to the teeth, and they had covered their face. You know that you can see only their eyes and their mouth.
You don't do that. You don't
cross
do
my
that.
vehicle as if I was watching a movie.
You know, totally condemnable, and they ought to be investigated for their conduct and sanctioned. You do not do that. This is an affront.
A court gave you the order. If the court
themselves,
a court gave you an order to come and do this.
I mean, certainly not. No court will give you an order to go disrupt a live show, you know, and intimidate a panel. You don't do that. You know, so all of this ought to be condemned, and it should not be tolerated at all. Now I come to the Electoral Commission's very, very strange, rather curious directive to all their regional and district collation centers, their EC officials, that they should select only 12 media houses. How? I mean, and they say that this is from their rich wisdom and that they want to control numbers. In Ghana, we don't control numbers at collation centers. Everybody, indeed, political parties all urge their supporters. After you vote, you can go probably have lunch and come back. We count openly and publicly. The fundamental basis for free, transparent, credible elections is that the process is in the full glare. Everybody sees and follows what is going on. So why do you want to limit? Look, the EC should rather be encouraging more media houses. There should be unfettered access by the media. You should rather be encouraging that. Because if you do that, it builds confidence. People see that, oh, this Electoral Commission, they have nothing to hide. They want everybody to come and follow the process. So when you begin to limit, people then ask questions. How free is this going to be? How open is this going to be? How transparent? And these are cardinal principles when you want to judge credible elections. You want to assess credible elections. This is the criteria. So the Electoral Commission has not done its image any good. And I want to salute the media fraternity who have risen up against this. The Media Foundation for West Africa, the Ghana Journalists Association, Prem Park, Giba, and all of them. I have heard them roundly condemn this together with other civil society organizations. The question that logically arises, how are the 12 media houses going to be selected? What criteria will be used? Who is going to be in? Who is going to be left out? Why do you want to create this problem for yourself?
In fact, they even restricted it to TV and radio.
I mean, how? TV and radio.
So newspapers don't exist.
Newspapers are online portals. Online portals.
Exist.
In this digital age, you are living out online portals.
Proactive about this.
I mean, whoever came up with this. I mean, look, this is the errors, the very infantile mistakes. I mean, and sometimes. And if they are not errors, it's even worse. If they are not errors, it's even worse. That means it's premeditated. Yeah. And you are really determined to close the process, shroud it in some secrecy. No. You have only a select media house that you have selected, your preferred media house.
In fact, they ask their district officers to determine which media houses are credible.
I mean, how? No criteria. So look.
Well, they said they departed from that wisdom. So.
Yeah.
This wisdom should never have come into their heads. And they should quickly commence, I go back to the first matter, quickly commence investigations. It's important. Assure us that those ballot papers are not in the wrong hands, that they have found them. You know, it's absolutely crucial.
We cannot conclude that ballot papers shortfall. Could it also be that they were not printed in the first place?
But how come all our parties' officials have signed that they met the statistics?
That's where the issue was.
Yes,
and then
because you don't have any report.
Our party representative did a sloppy job. You asked that
as
well.
Yeah.
So
maybe,
fine.
I'm
sure at IPAC meeting they will raise some of these things, and then the solutions will be, given to it.
Because the same electoral, they say also they have identified some discrepancies in some serial numbers on presidential ballot papers for Brekum West and Brekum East. In Brekum West, the serial numbers on the ballots are different from that on the counterfoil.
At the instant of printing,
and it's made up of 7 of the 100 booklets and 1 of the 25 booklets for presidential ballot. And Brekum East has inconsistent and duplication of serial numbers. This is made up of 3 of the 100 booklets and 1 of the 50 booklets and 1 of the 25 booklets. Serial numbers do not follow sequentially.
Yeah.
2 of the 10 booklets having the same serial numbers.
Yeah. And you remember the earlier one also in the Volta region where they printed some without serial numbers.
Yeah,
it's so elementary, you wonder what's going on.
I hope
confusion. That at IPAC they will iron some of these things out and